So I think I want to talk about Boy Kills World first because I think I watched it first. I don't know. I want to talk about Boy Kills World first because I really liked it. I thought it was really great. I've been trying to think of a number that I would give it, and I think I got to settle on an 8 out of 10. There are a couple moments that feel a little out of place. Some of the writing is a little too much, a little too kitschy for its own good. But overall, I think that I really, really loved Boy Kills World. I just don't think that I can give it a 9.
Are you with me?
This won't ruin the film, but it's something that I can't stand anymore. That really kind of needs to stop. Boy Kills World has a post-credit scene that is the end of the movie. That should not be a post-credit scene. You need to take it from that post-credits section and move it to the end of the movie before the credits. We shouldn't have to sit through the credits to watch the end of the movie. Post-credit scene is for a tag, right? Something that's going to lead to something else. This is just the end of the movie. It's not a tag, and that needs to go right here. Okay, so the post-credit scene being the end of the movie is my big problem with it. Something that it's not like a huge issue for me because I really loved this movie, but the movie's marketed completely as an action comedy, and the plot of the story is a revenge tragedy. A revenge tragedy typically necessitates that it have a tragic sort of ending. Now, for the first hour and a half of this movie, it's pretty much an action comedy. But the last 15 to 20 minutes goes full revenge tragedy. It gets very dark and very intense. The tone is much darker than any of the rest of the film. The film is very brutal and very violent, but even though it's brutal and violent, it doesn't feel that way. It feels more like cartoon violence until the very end of the movie, and then suddenly we're thrust into a situation where all the brutality and violence that we've been witnessing kind of catches up with us. It's really very intense. It takes a sharp, though not unexpected, turn. Again, because this is a revenge tragedy from the outset, we're sort of prepared that it's going to go this way, but it still feels very... It really got into like the pit of my stomach. I really started to feel it. It was kind of shocking how the dramatic turn that the movie took. And so I don't want to say that that's I don't want to say that it's a big problem, but it felt different. I felt like I wasn't sure that I wanted to keep watching this movie anymore. Like that's how dark the movie got.
But let me take you back to an even worse one.
One of the trailers for Boy Kills World was the Crow with Alexander Skarsgard that's going to be coming out. And I mean, that movie's going to just be wholly dark. This movie kind of turned into that. I don't want to say it was accidental. It was obviously very purposeful. Like I said when talking about Fallout, this movie does right everything that kind of does wrong, and so it's definitely not accidentally done. It's purposeful, but it does feel like a different movie. The story is the same, but the movie feels different for the last 15 minutes.
You know how hard it is to get a serial company to sponsor mass murder?
But again, that's really just the only two things that I didn't like. And so I should probably say now, spoilers for Boy Kills World, and so if you just want to hear what I like and don't like about Fallout, then I'll put a timestamp here, and you can go forward in the video to that in case you want to see Boy Kills World. I don't know how much longer it's going to be in theaters because it didn't make a whole lot of money. Okay, I guess there's one more thing that I can say before I put up the timestamp, which is that for a first-time director, I thought the story was great. I thought the cinematography was great. There's some character things that I think maybe needed some fleshing out, but I thought that the humor that existed, the way the story was told overall, I really liked this movie. I'm so glad that I saw it in theaters and that it wasn't something that I just glossed over.
That's me.
Now we'll put up the timestamp. Go forward to this if you just want to watch what I say about the Fallout TV series. Yeah, because I'm going to talk about Boy Kills World and I don't know where I'm going to go with it. I don't know what I'm going to say that I'm going to spoil or not, but I would highly encourage you to see Boy Kills World while it's in theaters. Okay, so I love Boy Kills World. I think the way that the humor hits on just about everything. I think the funniest moment in the movie is there's sort of a flat angle where they're showing this character named Basho, and he's holding a vice over one of the what's the family? The Vanderkoys?
The Vanderkoys.
The sort of dictators. They have like a big family, and he's holding this vice over one of the heads of the dictators. And the dictator kind of has a change of heart, and he decides that he's going to help Boy because he's sort of decided that his wife isn't going to control him anymore. And then Basho just accidentally drops the vice on top of. That's not Vander. He's not a Vanderkoy. It's like the speech giver. It's Charlton Copley from District 9, whoever he is in the movie, the speech guy. He has the vice over his head. Basho accidentally drops it on him, and you just see his face just get hit with the vice, and then they just show it's just completely missing. It's sort of like a dead-on shot from Face Off, really bloody, really, really nasty. And then we just get reaction shots between Boy and Basho over what's just happened.
Somebody wasn't going to help us.
Definitely sounded like he was going to help us.
It's a pretty incredible sequence. All the fight scenes were good. I wrote a chapter on Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer, and I hate Conan the Destroyer. One of the things that happens in that movie is any time that we might start to get close in the characters, they sort of take the camera and pull it way back so that we don't actually get close to them physically, like visually, like what we're watching. And that doesn't happen in this movie. This movie does just the right amount of balance between long shots and sort of medium close-ups as we have these fights that occur between characters. There's lots of tracking camera movement where the camera will zip from one place to the next in order to show us sort of the next violent moment that Boy commits against somebody, and that's pretty neat. All that happens in most of the fight. Most of the fight scenes are excellently choreographed. I loved that. I think the fight choreographer got like 4th or 5th billing on this movie, and he did a pretty good job. It was pretty great. I think all the actors in the movie are actually pretty good. I loved the way they did everything. I loved Isaiah Mustafa, the Old Spice guy, as the Old Spice guy, as this character who you can't really understand.
Momo parking lot.
Probably not saying that. Maybe if I concentrate, I can...
Pick up our briefcase.
Something about pickles.
Snookle boo top top.
Are these words? I don't...
I love when the Alexander Skarsgard can't understand the plan, and his imaginary friend sister tells him to just go along with the plan, and so he kind of nods his way through the plan, and nothing goes as he expects, but then the plan goes exactly as Basho and Isaiah Mustafa expect. And that was pretty cool.
I don't like this plan.
I like the twist in the movie. There's a female fighter who wears a helmet that has words on it, and we know very early on that she's the sister. That's not technically revealed until much later, but we, the audience, we get that that's the sister. I love the actual twist that it is the dictator is actually their mother. I love the graphic match on action of this, right, where they're giving 5 middle fingers on each hand and just doing this. And I love the graphic match on action at the very end where Boy gives that to the girl, and that's how she's able to tell that it's his sister.
Are you with me? Always.
Again, I'm a little unsure about how I feel about the very end of the movie. I almost don't want to talk about it because, I mean, if you're going to see the movie, it's so great, and it's hard to even want to ruin something, but I feel like I have to talk about it. There's sort of a double twist in this film where everything that we sort of are given at the beginning is not what really happened.
The day the Vanderkoys killed my family and left me deaf and mute.
And we are told that at the end during like the last 20 minutes. And while I really like that, it also leads to this dark, violent, horrific sequence where there were things that were happening. There was one moment. It was perfect. There was one moment where you don't see what the villain is doing to Boy, and you just sort of see it's sort of hidden. You just see that the villain is doing it. And again, I don't even want to say who the villain is. It's hard to talk about. I'll probably ruin it here in just a minute. But there's a moment where you don't see what the villain is doing to Boy, and your thoughts are going everywhere. You're just like, oh my gosh, this guy, he's never going to be able to walk again. He's never going to be able to have children. You don't know what's happening. You just hear horrible sounds, and Boy, he can't speak. He's mute, so he's just going, and that's it. But then the director cuts from this sort of reaction to what's happening, and he just kind of has ripped open Boy's leg. It would be bad, right? If it happened to me like right now, I'd probably be crying, pass out, something like that. But for him, lots of stuff's happened to him in his life, so it's probably not all that bad. Again, that sequence though at the end, it's so dark. It goes places it feels to me, if I can draw an analogy as to how dark it is without giving away the ending. The scene at the very end of the movie reminds me of the moment in Scream where Billy and Stu are stabbing each other.
Watch this. Ready? Yeah. Yeah! I'm ready, baby! Alright! Get up! Yeah, man, get up!
When they are to the point where now they're going to frame Sydney's father for all of these horrible murders, and they start stabbing each other, and that goes to a very dark place in the way that this scene does. It's just very dark, and I just don't think that I can ruin the ending. I love this movie too much. It's not like the best script ever written. It's not the best movie I've ever seen, but I really loved it. I'm almost ready to change it from an 8 to a 9 just talking about it. I don't know, that post-credit sequence, that's a pretty big sin. And some of the comedy doesn't necessarily hit. Some of the moments, it's like, okay, I understand what's happening, let's go. But for the most part, you know, I really like the characters.
You want Hilda? Okay, I can take you to her if you free me.
Dodgy. To appear untrustworthy.
What are you doing? Please break the chain.
Right, sorry.
Michelle Dockery was great. Of course, Alexander Skarsgard was great. I think everybody in the movie did a really good job. I really loved this movie, so maybe I'll give it a 9. I don't know. Well, let's go with 8.5. We'll split the difference. We'll go 8.5. It's not gonna get a 10, but it's definitely worth a watch. You should definitely check it out.
Stop!